to our Tech Tip Tuesday video series. Today I want to look at some things that you can do to help organize your drive to make it a little bit easier for you to navigate and get around. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the toolbar on the left-hand side. Obviously, the new button is where you can click and you can start a new files, if you will. But essentially, you should see two main sections here at the top. You should see My Drive, which is the drive that you own, that you have access to. And then team drives, which will get you access to all the different team drives that you have rights to. You may have viewing rights, you may have editing rights to your team drive. And your team drives will look different than mine because you may have access to different team drives than I do. One of the first things I want to mention here is with regard to organizing is the little drop down arrow next to the drives. I'm going to go back here to My Drive and I'm going to click on this drop down arrow. And this does give you the ability to see all the folders and files that you have within a certain drive. So it does give you that ability to, if you will, navigate on the left-hand side without navigating here on the main page. I use this on occasion if I want to move particular folders into or files from one folder to another. Sometimes I will get the file or folder open over here, I'll get the file I want over here appearing on my window, and then I can click on it, and then I would drag and drop it where I want it over on this side. That is one way to kind of move some things around. So that's a quick way to get to things. Other than talking about the rest of this, just share with me. I've never ever really look into this section because it just shows you everything that's been shared with you, and it gets ridiculously long when things are shared with you, and so that's a spot that I very seldom actually look into. Sorry about that. I was formatting another video. Recents is a nice place to look sometimes, because if you click on that, it's going to show you all the files that you've recently accessed. And here's the files, for example, that I've accessed today. I was looking at some student work. This is the stuff I've been accessing today. And then you see that it goes to earlier this week, and it will show you folders and files that you've accessed earlier this week. And then you keep going, and it will even have a section as it continues to load. As I continue to go down the page, it'll have a little section that says earlier this month. So that's a helpful way to get back to, although I typically look at files I've accessed either earlier today or earlier this week. So it's a really easy way to get back to something that you've recently opened without having to remember where you placed it, if you will. Now, Starred is another great tool to use to help organize. And what this does is you can select folders or files, and you can create a star or place a star upon them, and then they will appear in this starred section, which is a way to easily get back to a folder or a file, especially if it's one you're working on for a short period of time, or if it's a folder that you need to get back to on a regular basis, but you don't want to kind of drill down and try to find it in your drive. I'm going to go back up here to My Drive just to show you how you would star a particular folder. So I've got all my folders here. So I can do a right click on a particular folder, and you will see one of the options here is to add to starred. And if I select that, now this coach team folder now has a star on it, even though you cannot see it here. If I go back over to my starred feature, or excuse me, my starred area, here is the folder right here. Now, if I no longer want that item in my starred section, I can do another right click, and I can remove from the starred very easily. So that's a really quick. Now I'm in grid view. I'm going to go back here to My Drive here. I'm in grid view. Remember, we looked at grid versus list view earlier in another series. So here's that coach's team folder, and here's how I can tell that it is starred because it has a star beside it. When you're in grid view, you can't tell whether an item, a folder, or a file is starred, but when you're in list view, you can see whether the item is starred or not. And then you can remove the star or add a star within this list view. It doesn't matter which way you want to do it. You may have seen When I did my right click, for example, you see that some of my folders have different colors. This is another way that you can help not really organize your drive, but it's a way that you can help have certain folders jump out at you. For example, this administrative team meeting folder. I can do a right click on here and I can change the color of that folder. So for example, maybe I want that to be a folder that jumps out at me, so I may color code it red. And just simply select the color, and there it appears right there. Now it's red. I can go to any of them I want and change it to whatever color I want. You can take the color back off. So that's another way that you can help kind of, not necessarily organize because it doesn't sort them by color, but it does help certain folders kind of stand out. You may see as well that some of these folder names have little icons in front of them. Okay, this one in particular has just a little, the little @ symbol. So that is one way that you can kind of force folders to the top of your drive, if you will. You can insert special icons in front of them, and so therefore that's how they'll alphabetize. They alphabetize, I believe, by letters and then by numbers. I may have that backwards, so I have to play with that one. But you can also insert more complex icons, which is what you see here. And there's all sorts of websites out there that you can get icons. One that I tend to go to, there's one called, here it is, copypastecharacter.com. And so if you just go to copypastecharacter.com, you open that in a new tab, it has all sorts of characters that you can choose from. And so if there's a character that you want, because it makes sense for that to be a character that you would use, you'd simply just go to this website. You can find the character you want. You would simply copy the icon, and then when you come over to your drive, when you go to rename the file, you would simply rename it, and then you could paste that icon in the front of it. You have to be careful with that because different icons organize things a little differently. See, for example, this is e-learning. This is continuous improvement. So you see that C technically would come before E in the alphabet, but for some reason this icon forces is listed before this icon here. So that's just another way that you can kind of help organize and really help different folders stand out. And so continue to pop back in here for some more tips on how to manage and organize and work in Google Drive.